now on Nintendo Switch 2 comes Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Wait, hang on. What even kind of game is this? Out now on Nintendo Switch 2 comes Tech Demo School Trip Simulator Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, a title that sees you, or as close an approximation of you as you can get with randomly generated characters, going on a tour of the new tech inside the Nintendo Switch 2. Play mini-games, play tech demos, stamp stamps, do quizzes, read in a title made by Nintendo! So let's start this review with the positives, all the things I enjoyed about this one. Look, flippancy aside, the selection of mini-games and demos present here are fun, and they go great lengths to just show just how much the tech has improved since the Nintendo Switch 1. Now, granted, you can't play every game if all you have is the base unit. Some require the camera, and I think there's one that requires the Pro Controller, and there's some that require 4K HDR 120 frames per second screen, which, you know, the Switch 2 can do 120 frames per second and HDR, but, you know, if you don't have a 4K monitor, you're out of luck. So, yeah, there's certain games in this thing that I really can't do because some of them can only be done for me. Can only be done on the handheld because I've got neither a monitor nor a capture card that can deal with that kind of stuff, but whatever, aside from those games, every other game is perfectly good. They're fine, they give you a good feel of all the features that upcoming Nintendo and second party, third party and indie titles will end up using or will end up ignoring, like the Switch 1's infrared camera. In fairness, you do get a good hands-on feel as to how the mouse controls work, so at least I know how things will go if I end up playing some of the first-person shooters that get released on the console. The selection of games can vary from quick-fire reaction tests to one that require a little bit more controller wagging. I do wish that more of them weren't so quick-fire, especially given how fiddly and uncomfortable some of the controls can be, especially with the mouse-controlled games, but you know, they're okay for what they are, just short 20, 30, 60 second games. They're good. I mean, I can't say there's a single tech demo or game that I hate, which is good, I suppose, and I will admit that I do like learning about the hardware that went into making the Nintendo Switch 2. It is all neat and informative and presented well without it getting too technical. The text is clear, easy to read, it isn't overly dense, and once you get to the end of one of these little sequences, you get a little wrap-up screen that just kind of underlines some of the key information that you've learned, kind of like a summary, in that way your teachers at school should have done but never did outside of inspection days. I like the soundtrack, it is well put together, in some parts feeling like walking through one of those liminal, space, dead mall videos, and other times it's sounding so good it's almost like playing a real game. As for the negatives, well, blimey, look, you know how I started this video with a joke of, oh, I don't even know what this is? Well, that isn't a joke. I don't really know what I'd call this one. I don't know what kind of genre or subgenre that it fits into, and that's a problem. This isn't a mini-game collection or a tech demo collection, not in the traditional sense of it, as you will spend more time wandering around this exposition area looking for stamps to stamp on your card to unlock new areas, or spend more time learning about the intricacies of the machine itself, more so than playing some of these tech demo kind of deals. I suppose if we were to give it some kind of subgenre kind of label, I suppose it would be kind of like a tech convention simulator. You spend more time walking from exhibit to exhibit, waiting for your turn to play a demo, whilst getting barraged by tech information left, right and centre, more so than you actually spend playing the tech demos themselves, and then, once you've actually played the tech demo, you begin the process again with you wandering around. I mean, all we need to do from there is throw in some loud music, bad cosplay, and some sweaty herberts with bad hygiene, and we've got the beginnings of an E3 revival on our hands. But even that would be generous, as everything here is just so cold and corporate that it really does feel like you're going on some kind of school trip to some kind of tech place more than anything else. There is zero personality here, just bland mini characters standing around spewing pointless dialogue, standing around giant recreations of the Switch 2 and its peripherals. Yet these recreations look great, they're rendered very well, and yeah, it's cool to see inside some of these devices, but there is no character whatsoever to the vast majority of all of this. I mean, I get the idea that some people are getting a little bit mardy about reusing Mario and the other Nintendo characters ad nauseum, but this is just so empty and so devoid of personality, it's baffling. this is Nintendo, for goodness sakes. I know they're getting a little bit more corporate in their old age, but this? Good lord! And all of this is held back by a progression system that makes no sense. Well, I suppose they really wanted you to be seeing the full scale of all that these great renders of the Switch 2 in its gear can be, because, well, I mean, if you didn't sit around and look at all this stuff, then you might end up failing your tests that you could do. Or suppose maybe it was done because they didn't want people rushing ahead and playing everything that is to playing this one too soon, because if they did, they may come to the conclusion that a lot of these tech demos and mini-games are just okay at best and frustrating at worst. There is zero replay value to any of them, not even as a quick time waster, and none of them are co-op or multiplayer either, so well, I mean, you could share a Joy-Con with someone if they happen to be in the same room as you, but aside from that, nothing really. The closest that Nintendo has ever come to making a game like this before was Nintendo Land, and whilst I did have some issues with that, it was still a game that I would boot up now and again and play around with, or play with a family member or some guests that I happen to have over. Here, well, I mean, I suppose if I really want a friend or loved one to feel the power of HD Rumble 2, then yeah, I can do that. I just need them to sit back and wait whilst I run over to the exhibit that they have to play. Then they can turn around to me and say, oh, that's neat. Can we actually play a game, please? There's been a lot of debate online as to whether or not this game should have been a packing title, and well, yes, but also no. The Switch 2 needed something to show off what it is capable of, but this is just so dull and lifeless, I don't see that this is the killer app that should have been included. Oh sure, 1-2 Switch should have been a packing title with the previous machine, but this, it feels like it either needs to be drastically reworked to make it more of a game and more of a shared experience, or just have been a free download for those brave enough to go on a school trip during launch day. Or better yet, maybe it should have stayed in the boardroom rather than wasting people's time with this. Look, I don't want to get hyperbolic here, as I think the internet is far too full with hyperbole at the best of times, but honestly, from where I'm sat in the here and now, this might be the worst Nintendo game that I've ever played. I mean, I don't want to evoke a well-known phrase here, but what were they thinking? So to answer the question, can I recommend this? No, honestly no. It is a waste of time, money and talent. Score-wise, it is a flat 40. The only reason why it isn't in the low 30s is because the game is functional, it's not full of bugs. The games that it does have within it are fun for what they are, even if a lot of them really are one-shot things. And the presentation is good, even if it feels very cold and corporate. But still, I'm sorely disappointed by this one. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. Have you played it? Are you deciding not to play it? Let me know. I mean, good gravy. Anyway, thank you all for listening, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, click the bell and do all the YouTubey stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Go on, it'll do me a power of good. Until next time, my friends, goodbye!